Hi, sixth graders. Today you are going to start your project from lesson 2, and your task is going to be to create a news report on a fake earthquake that just occurred. So you're going to be completing a project guide today that will help you out with this project. Down below here you will see the rubric that we will be using to score your final project. The final project itself will not be due until next Tuesday, but today your task is to complete the project guide. So let's jump into that. The project guide starts off with an introduction. So your task here is to introduce yourself as the news reporter. So you would tell who you are, where you are reporting from, and just briefly what happened. So for example, I might say that I am Jennifer Long reporting live for Channel 8 News in San Francisco, California, where a devastating earthquake just occurred. So you can be creative here. If you want to make up a fictitious name, you may. I want you to choose a city and a state that is known for earthquake activity. Obviously, Carlisle, Pennsylvania doesn't have a lot of earthquakes, so it would not be a good choice. Think about where those plate boundaries are and some of those major cities around the world that we have explored so far. And again, your what happened is just a real quick statement what your news broadcast is going to cover. Then we move on to part 2 where we get into the science explanation. You're going to start off by defining what an earthquake is, and then you're going to talk about why it occurred. So number 2 here is the type of stress that caused the earthquake. It'll be your choice if you want to choose tension, compression, or shearing. But your task is to state the type of stress and explain its motion or movement. So for example, if I was going to explain the stress of compression, I would talk about how the rock is pressed together, pushed together. For number 3, then you're going to explain the type of fault that occurred. Your fault needs to relate to the stress that you chose. So again, if I chose compression, I need to make sure that for number 3 then I'm explaining what happens with a reverse fault. So number 2 and number 3 need to correlate with each other. Okay, your choice what you decide to do there. Part 3 is going to get into the damage and rating. We talked about the Mercalli scale and how earthquakes are rated based on their damage. So you're going to choose the rating of the earthquake you're reporting on. We are asking that you choose at least a rating of a 5 or higher. That way you do have some good examples of damage to explain. So number 1, what is your rating? Number 2 then, you need to give 5 specific examples of damage. A bad example would be to say something like buildings collapsed. All right, we want detail and we want you to be specific. So you can make some of this up, but it still has to be scientifically accurate. What I mean by that is I might say that an example of damage for my earthquake, if it was a rating of an 8, the local sheets down on the corner, the roof has collapsed, there's fire because some of the gas mains have broken, something like that. So I'm being more specific, I'm giving details that relate to damage in that area that may have occurred with that rating. So we're looking for 5 good examples for your earthquake. And then finally, you're going to conclude your report. Don't just walk off set, you kind of have to wrap it up. So I might say something like, please tune back in at 5 o'clock for an update on this devastating disaster. Okay, come up with some sort of wrap up to conclude your report. So your task today is to complete this project guide. Once you have completed your guide, you're going to submit that to us in today's Schoology folder. If you do not already have a paper copy, you will find a OneDrive document of the project guide here where you can open that, type your responses, and submit it. If you have a paper copy, you're simply going to take a picture of your completed guide and submit it here to the photo of paper copy submission thread. Okay. That needs to be done today. Your project, like I mentioned in the beginning, is due on Tuesday. So you're now ready to move on to step 3, which is beginning the project. You will have the weekend, Monday and Tuesday as well, to finalize your project. And we really want you to be creative. If you choose to write out your news report, that's fine. Just make sure that you're very detailed and descriptive. If you're choosing to do an actual live broadcast, we want you to be creative as well with your video. Most of you have used video features. There are some great apps on your iPad. You can use Clips, iMovie, or another recording application that you're familiar with. If you want to dress up and play the part of the broadcaster, that would be awesome. You can have visuals, pictures in the background, really set the stage. That's entirely up to you. We want you to have fun with it and be creative. So good luck. Your final project again is due on Tuesday. You will find in Tuesday's folder a place for you to drop your final project. All right, reach out to us if you have any questions. You're ready to move on to step 2.